Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. All right, man, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So, I do have Anatoly Karpov versus Eugene Torre. This is 1973, Leningrad Interzonal. And for those of you that know chess history, Bobby Fischer has just won the World Championship in 1972. So this Interzonal is the workings to try to see who is supposed to play Bobby Fischer in 1975 for the World Championship. As you guys know, he did not ever show up, so Anatoly Karpov became the world champion by default, by forfeit, I believe. You know, that's kind of how the little chess history goes. I'm not sure, you know, who he would have wanted to play, you know, if he had an opportunity. Maybe if Eugene Torre would have made it, maybe he would have did it, man. But this is the game, like I said, Karpov versus Torre real quick. So all of my people in the Philippines, I would say maraming salamat na king makaibigan post na nunod inga king ma video. Anybody who is coming from the Soviet Union or who does speak Russian, I will say dobre otra. I will say kak dela to you. And I will say spasibi. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. All right, man. So we got the move E4, opening things up best by test. We do see the move knight F6. The Alekhine? Bro, you asking for trouble, homie, if you play this. I'm just telling you. But it can be playable if you run into the right person, man. Some people aren't the right person. You know, we do see the move E5, and this is definitely the strongest way to get an advantage. You can play, not necessarily passively, but you can play like knight C3, you know, maybe let the person go E5, you know, get into like a regular, maybe like 4 knights. It definitely can transpose, but you have given up your gigantic advantage. And E5 definitely is inconveniencing the knight. Now, when you guys play the Pierts, you guys play King's Indian, you guys know that D6 move specifically is to discourage this move so that you can safely land a knight on F6. So this kind of goes against that principle. We do see the move knight to D5, and then we do see the move D4, and then we have the move D6. So we kind of have an important branching point in this position. Do you want to continue to chase the knight, or do you want to play more positionally? Karpov decides he wants to play positionally, and he goes knight to F3. But those of you that do play against the Alekhine, I think quite a bit of you probably play what we like to call the chase variation, and that is the move C4, and then, you know, you'll have knight back to B6, and then you probably would see F4, and this is by far the strongest way to play. So, I mean, this is the way that I like to personally play myself. You just get the gigantic center, man. Why not get a great gigantic center? But like I said, we do not see that. We just see a simple knight to F3. We got the move G6. We got bishop to C4. And we have just pretty much went the development approach. We say, hey, man, I'm getting my knight out, my bishop out. All very principled stuff. We got knight back to B6, which is very, very common. We do see bishop back to B3. We got bishop to G7. And what other than knight to G5? Bro, you know what? If you can threaten, of course, this isn't checkmate, but if you can threaten some kind of stuff like this, man, why not do it, bro? Because usually black, you know, your opponent has to parry this threat because it's very severe. So, man, just do it, bro, like Nike says. We do see the move D5, just shutting the bishop down on that diagonal. We got the move F4. So you see that we kind of, even though we went like a really different route, we did kind of still get into the 4 knights type of a situation. We kind of have like some French advanced type situations going on. We do see knight C6 and we got C3. And so you kind of see like the French like structure type situation. We do see F6. We got knight back down to F3. We got bishop to F5. We do want to go E6 probably at some point. So, I mean, get the bishop out of the pawn chain before you close it in with E6. Kind of some Carol Khan ideas. We do see castles by white. And then we do see queen going to D7. We got knight B to D2. We got pawn taking E5 and then pawn taking E5. It's not the end of the world if you take with the D pawn. But, I mean, one of the things that you have to be paying attention to is this structure right here. If you take with E, you're going to be breaking it up. And then you have black probably has a possibility of playing the move D4. And that really just kind of gives them too much. So that is why we see F taking E5. We got castles by black. We got the rook up to F2. We got knight to A5, harassing this bishop over here. We don't want to lose it, so we do see bishop to C2. We got bishop taking C2, queen taking C2, and then we do have queen to F5. And this isn't a super critical point in the game, but, you know, black is kind of asking you, bro, you know, your queen's undefended. Do you want to just trade? That is actually one of the better moves. Queen taking f5 is definitely not a bad move. We do see the move queen to d1 in the game, but if we do see queen taking f5, you would be looking at rook taking f5. And I mean, you have to think about this though when you're playing your games. When you're trading, are you really getting anything for the trade? Like, are you coming up a little bit from the trade? Because in this situation here, you got queen taking f5 and then rook taking. Black's structure is not damaged. You just traded queens. There really wasn't like much that you kind of got for it. So even though it wasn't bad in this position, sometimes you'll trade into situations where you make it easier for your opponent. You don't want to do that, man, because you're trying to win the game, right? Exactly, bro. We got the move. So instead of that, like I said, we did see queen to d1. We got the move e6, like I was saying before. Knight goes down to f1. We got the move c5. All the French ideas are coming to life here with c5, trying to break down the structure on d4. We do see the move h3. We got pawn taking d4, pawn taking d4. We do see knight to c6, and we are putting quite a bit of pressure on d4. It's very heavily defended right now, though, so I mean, everything is everything. We do see the move b3, and we are thinking about maybe going bishop b2, maybe even bishop to a3. Kind of trying to see what's going on. We do see knight back to d7, and then we do see bishop to a3. And then we have the move rook to f7, which is very, very committal because the queen doesn't have like a lot of squares now to go to. We had a situation before, you know, really the computer in this position really just wanted you to give up your rook. I think it'd be hard for a lot of people to do that as black. You're like, bro, why am I giving up my rook? It wanted moves like bishop h6, queen down to e4, even queen up to f7, just kind of making sure that you have movability with your queen. But I mean, I don't think a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, man, I'm going to give my rook up just because. Like, it just doesn't seem like a good thing to do. So we do see rook to f7. We have reached a point in the game. If you do want to pause the video and guess what move white should play here, go ahead and do so. All right, man. So like I was just telling you guys before, I kind of gave you a little bit of hints going on that this queen is kind of running out of real estate. It's really crazy to me because, I mean, literally this queen has been opposite this rook forever. You don't really have a good discovery because if you move the knight anywhere, you were going to be looking at queen takes on f2 with check, and then the king's have to slide over, and you just lost some material. But we do actually have the move g4 in this position here, and you have put a very, very serious question mark to your opponent. You're like, where does your opponent go? You really don't have any really great options. What we see in the game is queen to e4, and after queen to e4, we do see knight going up to g5, and it is in this position that Torre does resign the game. For those of you that are wondering why he resigned, you got this and you got this, and you can't go here with an in-between move because the queen is just going to get lost. So it's not the best case scenario. This is a very, very strong position for white. This is literally giving you +4, which is like under no circumstances should you ever lose that. But going back in the position after we saw g4, there was an alternate move, but the problem was, I mean, it really wasn't much better than queen to e4. You really kind of had to go into that fork. If we did see queen to f4, which might kind of seem like, hey, man, I'm kind of getting out of it. I got, you know, queen movability type stuff. You would be looking at bishop to c1. And, I mean, you really don't have nowhere else to go. You still have this move right here, you know, but if you do that move, you're still looking at knight to g5 in the fork situation. So it's almost like you kind of delayed it just a little bit longer. You know, but I mean, somebody that is on Karpov's level is going to find bishop to c1. And then we do see, you would probably see queen taking f3 and then rook taking f3. And like I said, this is miserable if you're black. You know, you really, really don't want to be here because you're just down like, you know, a queen for, you know, a knight. And that's not an even trade. I don't know how many of you guys like know chess points or like pieces strength, but that's not an even trade. And so for those of you guys that are aware of, you know, kind of the history of the situation here, you know, Anatoly Karpov did go on to win the zonals and the candidates and all that stuff. And he did end up challenging Bobby Fischer for the world championship. But as you guys know, he did not, Bobby Fischer did not show up. They literally agreed on like 100, I think it's like 177 points. And there was like one other point that he was arguing, and they just decided, hey, we don't want to go with that. So he did not show up, and then Anatoly Karpov became the world champion in 1975. Now, this match between these two players did, you know, Torre was able to get his revenge game in 1976, and I already covered that game. But I appreciate everybody very much. Spasibi and Mermin Salamat, and I'm going to see you guys next time.